SVG's Jason Dachman here with another episode of SVG SportsTech On Demand, and I have the privilege of being joined by Jason Neureiter of Adorama Business Solutions. He's the corporate account manager for broadcast and sports, a longtime supporter of SVG. Jason, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it, man. First and foremost, everybody healthy and safe at your family and at the Adorama team right now?
All good, Jason. Thankfully, knock on wood. Appreciate you having me this morning. And yes, thankfully, everybody's well. So thanks for asking.
Great to hear. Well, you guys serve in our corner of the world, in the sports and broadcast world. You guys serve with a plethora of solutions. There's all kinds of products, obviously, that you're going to serve. And when the shutdown happened, suddenly everybody, was having to figure out how to do some new things, some work from home things, maybe had to buy some new things. So I'm curious, let's start from when that mid-March shutdown happened and your clients came to you and had to figure some things out. How did you work with them to make sure that Adorama could, kind of keep them up and going and make sure they had the tools at their disposal?
Yeah, it was, tell you what, it was a sudden change in focus, so to speak. And realistically, when the shutdown first happened, the shift went from, how are we going to create this content and get it out there, to how are people going to be able to work now that they have to work remotely. And we literally, we stopped on a dime and basically tried to adapt with everybody and wanted to make sure that those who continued working and were going to work remotely, we could help them in every way possible.
Great. And since then, as this has become more of a long-term issue, people have developed long-term workflows in terms of working from home and that type of thing. So from the business solution standpoint, how have you guys continued to work with the industry, especially within the sports realm, to make sure that it's not just a how are we going to get going again, it's a how can we continue to create content, right?
And that is the big question right now. And that's where we're seeing a lot of creativity. I mean, obviously, two factors are in the sports world. It's just there's constant communication and there's constant dialogue. There's a lot of people in that industry who are still working hard every day. They've shifted their focus from creating a team-wide collaboration to individual contributors, so to speak, from a remote basis, as opposed to being in the studio or being in the arena or the practice facility. So from their standpoint, they're itching, they're getting ready to go, and you're seeing a lot more individual requirements as opposed to team requirements.
Right.
How can my talent, how can they contribute from home? Do they have a studio set up and so forth? And then from the broadcast side, it's a lot more creativity. But basically, how can these broadcasters integrate everything they need to do from multiple locations? And that's where we're really seeing the creativity. How do we incorporate streaming? How do we bring our Skype interviews into the daily broadcast? How do we get our reporters out there and get them covering the stories that matter the most to people? And at the same time, how do we keep them safe? And that is, that was one of the things, wasn't so much a focal point when the shutdown first happened, but now that people are starting to get up and running again and people are getting out and about, obviously safety is tantamount to what they're trying to do.
Yeah. And, let's talk about that, because we are hopefully entering sort of this next stage here. Some states are opening up. How is Adorama Business Solutions kind of positioned to help clients moving forward now, deal with the new normal? People are going to be reconfiguring office spaces, upgrading and changing mobile production facilities. And like you said, they got to maintain social distancing, of course.
Right.
So how are you going to work with your users and your clients in this very different world of live video production?
We're just trying to offer as many solutions as possible that relate to safety and basically just contributing to the aspect of a social distancing policy. And when I say that, it's kind of odd, but we've, not to be too pitchy, but we've definitely enhanced what we're looking to offer. And from the broadcasting standpoint, and this one kind of crept up on me personally because I never really thought about it. But in the past, whereas these companies would go out and the reporters and the talent, the correspondents, they would all share this gear. They can't do that anymore. And in addition to that, everybody that I've had so many calls this week where people are, in addition to the everyday needs, they're talking about, hey, do you have disinfectant? Hey, do you have gloves? And it's one of those things you don't really think about in day-to-day world before this happened, but it's just, there's so much interaction in the broadcast and the sports industry and in the media in general that it's just, we're trying to cover every base possible.
Right.
And with that, in addition to the offerings, we're talking to the clients on a daily basis. Hey, what else do you see? Is there anything you can recommend to us? I mean, Adorama as a company, we've done the exact same thing. I know our ownership has gone into our building down in Chelsea, and they've installed plexiglass, they've installed disinfectants and there's hand sanitizing stations and so forth. But it's just it's one of those things where you have to ask the question, what else can we do? And is there any advice you guys can give us? Because
Yep.
as much as we want to provide for you, we want to work with you. We want to make sure everybody stays safe, because the last thing we want to do is see this kind of thing happen again down the road.
Yeah. And, like you mentioned, the days of sharing headsets and sharing equipment are gone. And that's going to change the way that people, decide to buy equipment and
Yeah.
select their arsenal of production tools down the road. So, and I'm sure that you guys will play a big role in helping to make those decisions. But Jason, thanks so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it, man. And please stay safe, stay healthy, and our best to the entire Adorama team.
Jason, thank you so much. Appreciate that. And you do the same, my friend.
Cool. For more episodes of SVG Sports Tech On Demand, stay tuned to sportsvideo.org and the SVG YouTube channel.